I don't give a shit what question you ask it. It's always like, yeah, absolutely. Sounds like a plan. Exit strategy. Later. We'll be fine. Where's your dick when you get caught, right? Then it's just slumped over like, hey, I thought it was a good idea. Yeah. You have to know that. Dude, if your dick was a third base coach, it wouldn't hold anybody up. It'd just be fucking waving people around. Everybody, go in standing up. You got it. Oh, shit, here she comes. Slide. All right, you guys were awesome. Thank you so much for coming out. I hope you had as good a time as I did. Thank you.
Okay. So what now? We finished. We're gonna like that. We're gonna go like that. I'm gonna change the tape. Terrible. George Carlin on the 5th place on the YouTube search. Ooh, what the fuck? 96. Let's go for some old shit, huh? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the quality is gonna be caca, but I don't care. It's audio that's important.
Some people don't like you to talk like that. Oh, some people would like to shut you up for saying those things. You know that. Lots of people, lots of groups in this country want to tell you how to talk, tell you what you can't talk about. Well, sometimes they'll say, well, you can talk about something, but you can't joke about it. Say you can't joke about something because it's not funny. Comedians run into that shit all the time. Like rape, they'll say, you can't joke about rape. Rape's not funny. I say, fuck you, I think it's hilarious. How do you like that? I can prove to you that rape is funny. Picture Porky Pig raping Elmer Fudd. See, hey, why do you think they call him Porky, huh? I know what you're gonna say. Elmer was asking for it. Elmer was coming on to Porky. Porky couldn't help himself. He got a hard on. He got horny. He lost control. He went out of his mind. A lot of men talk like that. A lot of men think that way. They think it's the woman's fault. They like to blame the rape on the woman. Say, hey, she had it coming. She was wearing a short skirt. These guys think women ought to go to prison for being cock teasers. Don't seem fair to me. Don't seem right. But you can joke about it. I believe you can joke about anything. It all depends on how you construct the joke. What the exaggeration is. What the exaggeration is. Because every joke needs one exaggeration. Every joke needs one thing to be way out of proportion. Give you an example. You ever see a news story like this in the paper? Every now and then you run into a story that says some guy broke into a house, stole a lot of things, and while he was in there, he raped an 81-year-old woman. And I'm thinking to myself, why? What the fuck kind of a social life does this guy have? I want to say, why did you do that? Well, she was coming on to me. We were dancing and I got horny. Hey, she was asking for it. She had on a tight bathrobe. I say, Jesus Christ, be a little fucking selective next time, will you? Now, speaking of rape, you know what I wonder? I wonder, is there more rape at the equator or the North Pole? These are the kind of things I think about when I'm sitting home alone and the power goes out. I wonder, is there more rape at the equator or the North Pole? I mean per capita. I know the populations are different. Most people think it's the equator. I think it's the North Pole. People think it's the equator because it's hot down there. They don't wear a lot of clothing. Guys can see women's tits. They get horny, and there's a lot of fucking going on. That's exactly why there's less rape at the equator, because there's a lot of fucking going on. You can tell there's a lot of fucking at the equator. Take a look at the population figures. Billions of people live near the equator. How many Eskimos we got? 30? 35? No one's getting laid at the North Pole. It's too fucking cold. Guys say to their wives, hey, tonight, honey, huh? Tonight, huh? Are you crazy? The wind chill factor is 300 below. These guys are deprived, they're horny, they're pent up. Every now and then, they bust out, they gotta rape somebody. Now, the biggest problem an Eskimo rapist has, trying to get wet leather leggings off a woman who's kicking. Did you ever try to get leather pants off of someone who doesn't want to take them off? You would lose your heart on in the process. Up at the North Pole, your dick would shrivel up like a stack of dimes. That's another thing I wonder. I wonder, does a rapist have a hard-on when he leaves the house in the morning? Or does he develop it during the day while he's walking around looking for somebody? These are the kind of thoughts that kept me out of the really good schools. Now I probably got the feminists all pissed off at me because I'm joking about rape. Feminists want to control your language. Feminists want to tell you how to talk. And they're not alone. They're not alone. I'm not picking on the feminists. They got a lot of company in this country. There's a lot of groups, a lot of institutions in this country want to control your language. Tell you what you can say and what you can't say. Government wants to tell you some things you can't say because they're against the law. Or you can't say this because it's against the regulation. Or here's something you can't say because it's a secret. You can't tell him that because he's not cleared to know that. Government wants to control information and control language because that's the way you control thought. And basically that's the game they're in. Same with religion. Religion is nothing but mind control. Religion is just trying to control your mind, control your thoughts. So they're going to tell you some things you shouldn't say because they're sins. And besides telling you things you shouldn't say, religion's going to suggest to you some things you ought to be saying. Here's something you ought to say first thing when you wake up in the morning. Here's something you ought to say just before you go to sleep at night. Here's something we always say on the third Wednesday in April after the first full moon in spring at 4 o'clock when the bells ring. Religion is always suggesting things you ought to be saying. Same with political groups of all kinds. Political activists, anti-bias groups, special interest groups are going to suggest the correct political vocabulary, the way you ought to be saying things, and that's where the feminists come in. Now, as I said, I got nothing against the feminists. In fact, I happen to agree with most of the feminist philosophy I have read. I agree, for instance, that for the most part, men are vain, ignorant, greedy, brutal assholes who've just about ruined this planet. Who've just about ruined this planet because they're afraid someone might have a bigger dick out there somewhere. Men are basically insecure about the size of their dicks, and so they go to war over it. You don't have to be a political scientist or a history major to see the bigger dick foreign policy theory at work. It goes something like this. What? They have bigger dicks? Bomb them. And of course, the bombs and the bullets and the rockets are all shaped like dicks. I don't understand that part of it, but it is part of the equation. So I agree with that abstract, that males have pushed a technology that just about has this planet in a stranglehold. Mother Earth, raped again. Guess who? Hey, she was asking for it. I also happen to like it when feminists attack these fat-ass housewives who think there's nothing more to life than sitting home on the telephone, drinking coffee, watching TV, and pumping out a baby every 9 months. Will 7 be enough, Bob? But what's the alternative? What's the alternative to pumping out a unit every 9 months? Pointless careerism? Pointless careerism, putting on a man-tailored suit with shoulder pads and imitating all the worst behavior of men. This is the noblest thing that women can think of, to take a job in a criminal corporation that's poisoning the environment and robbing customers out of their money. This is the worthiest thing they can think of. Isn't there something nobler they could do to be helping this planet heal? You don't hear much about that from these middle-class women. I've noticed that most of these feminists are white middle-class women. They don't give a shit about black women's problems. They don't care about Latino women. All they're interested in is their own reproductive freedom and their pocketbooks. But when it comes to changing the language, I think they make some good points, because we do think in language, and so the quality of our thoughts and ideas can only be as good as the quality of our language. So maybe some of this patriarchal shit ought to go away. I think spokesman ought to be spokesperson. I think chairman ought to be chairperson. I think mankind ought to be humankind. But they take it too far. They take themselves too seriously. They exaggerate. They want me to call that thing in the street a person-hole cover. I think that's taking it a little bit too far. What would you call a ladies' man? A person's person? That would make a he-man an it person. Little kids would be afraid of the boogie person. They'd look up in the sky and see the person in the moon. Guys would say, come back here and fight like a person, and we'd all sing for It's a Jolly Good Person. That's the kind of thing you would hear on Late Night with David Letterperson. You know what I mean? So...
David Letterperson, kurwa.
So I think it's an exaggeration, and I like to piss off any group that takes itself a little bit too seriously. And it does not take a lot of imagination to piss off a feminist. All you gotta do is run into Now Headquarters or Ms. Magazine and say, hey, which one of you cute little cupcakes wants to come home and cook me a nice meal and give me a blowjob? Blowjob! Oh, that pisses them off. You want to piss off a feminist? Call her a cum catcher. That'll get her attention. Ah, don't act disgusted. Don't act disgusted. Half of you are going to go home and go down on each other tonight, remember? If you're willing to swallow cum, let's not make believe something I said was disgusting, okay?
Oh, finito. The fuck? It's fucking 9 minutes only? That fucking sucks. Oh, 1 hour.
I have
Later.
certain rules I live by. My first rule, I don't believe anything the government tells me. Nothing.
Claro.
And I gotta tell you folks, I don't get all choked up about yellow ribbons and American flags. I consider them to be symbols, and I leave symbols to the symbol-minded.
Quickly, eh? We need that guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for joy.
What time is it? What time is it? What, do people bother you with that? People bug you all the time, come up to you asking you, what time is it? What time is it? Bothers me, man. What time is it? As though I personally am responsible for keeping time. I don't know. Who knows? I got one of these, but I don't know. Nobody knows what time it is. What time is it? All the calendars are different. Chinese, Hebrew, Western. Nobody knows when it is. Might be the middle of last week for all we know. When are we? We know where we are, but when are we? I don't know. Can't keep track. Time moves too fast.
Yeah.
Give you an example.
Runs away.
There's a moment coming. It's not here yet. It's still in the future. It's on the way. Here it comes. Here it is. Oh. It's gone. There's no present. People say, what time is it? Well, you mean now or when you ask me? There's no present. Everything is the near future or the recent past. No, welcome to the present. Welcome once again to the present. And now the all new. No wonder we can't get anything done. There's no time, man. Every time I sit down to work, the time changes on me, man.
Hello.
I call this piece advertising. Quality, value, style, service, selection, convenience, economy, savings, performance, experience, hospitality, low rates, friendly service, name brands, easy terms, affordable prices, money-back guarantee, free installation. Free admission, free appraisal, free alterations, free delivery, free estimates, free home trial, and free parking. No cash? No problem. No kidding. No fuss, no muss, no risk, no obligation, no red tape, no hidden charges, no down payment, no entry fee, no purchase necessary. No one will call on you, no payments or interest till December, and no parking. Limited time only, though, so act now, order today, send no money, offer good while supplies last, 2 to a customer, each item sold separately, batteries not included, mileage may vary. All sales are final, allow 6 weeks for delivery, some items not available, some assembly required, some restrictions may apply. Shop by mail, order by phone. Try it in your home, get one for your car. All entries become our property. Employees not eligible, entry fees not refundable. Local restrictions apply. Void where prohibited, except in Indiana. So come on in for a free demonstration and a free consultation with our friendly professional staff. Our courteous and knowledgeable sales representatives will help you make a selection that's just right for you and just right for your budget. And say, don't forget to pick up your free gift. A classic, deluxe, custom, designer, luxury, prestige, high quality, premium, select, gourmet pocket flashlight. And if you act now, we'll include an extra added free complimentary bonus gift, a classic, deluxe, custom, designer, luxury, prestige, high-quality, premium, select, gourmet, leather-style wallet with detachable keychain and a pencil holder. It's our way of saying thank you. And if you're not completely satisfied, you pay nothing. Simply return the unused portion for a full refund, no questions asked. It's our way of saying thank you. Keep your free gift. Actually, it's our way of saying bend over just a little further and let us stick this big dick into your ass a little bit deeper.
People are fucking dumb. You can say what you want about this country, and I love this place. I love the freedoms we used to have. I love it. I love that, you know? I love it when it didn't take a fucking catastrophe to get us to care for one another. I love the fact that we're on camera all the time from all angles. But you know what? You can say what you want about America. And I say I love this place. I wouldn't have it any other way. Wouldn't live in any other time in history in any other place. But say what you want about America. Land of the free, home of the brave. We got some dumbass motherfuckers floating around this country. Dumbass motherfuckers, you know? Yeah. Now, obviously, that doesn't include this audience. I understand that. You seem intelligent and perceptive, but the rest of them, holy jumping fucking shitballs. Dumber than a second coat of paint. And this ain't just ranting and raving. This ain't just blowing off steam. I got a little evidence to support my claim. It just seems to me, that only a really low IQ population could have taken this beautiful continent, this magnificent American landscape that we inherited. Well, actually, we stole it from the Mexicans and the Indians, but hey, it was nice when we stole it. It looked pretty good. It was pristine. Paradise. Have you seen it lately? Have you taken a good look at it lately? It's fucking embarrassing. Only a nation of unenlightened half-wits could have taken this beautiful place and turned it into what it is today, a shopping mall. A big fucking shopping mall. You know that? That's all you got. That's all you've got here, folks. Mile after mile of mall after mall. Many, many malls. Major malls and mini malls. They put the mini malls in between the major malls. And in between the mini malls, they put the mini marts. And in between the mini marts, you got the car lots, gas stations, muffler shops, laundromats, cheap hotels, fast food joints, strip clubs, and dirty bookstores. America the Beautiful. One big transcontinental commercial cesspool. And how do the people feel about all this? How do the people feel about living in a coast-to-coast shopping mall? Well, they think it's just fucking dandy. They think it is cool as can be, because Americans love the mall. They love the mall. That's where they get to satisfy their two most prominent addictions, at the same time, shopping and eating. Millions of semi-conscious Americans, day after day, shuffling through the malls, shopping and eating, especially eating. Americans love to eat. They are fatally attracted to the slow death of fast food. Hot dogs, corn dogs, triple bacon cheeseburgers, deep fried butter dipped in pork fat and cheese whiz, mayonnaise, soaked barbecue, mozzarella, patty melts. Americans will eat anything, anything, anything. If you were selling sauteed raccoons' assholes on a stick, Americans would buy them and eat them. These people are efficient, professional, compulsive consumers. That's they think of that as their national pride. It's their civic duty. Consumption. It's the new national pastime. Fuck baseball. It's consumption. The only true, lasting American value that's left, buying things. Buying things. People spending money they don't have on things they don't need. Money they don't have on things they don't need. So they can max out their credit cards and spend the rest of their lives paying 18% interest on something that costs $12.50. And they didn't like it when they got it home anyway. Not too bright, folks. Not too fucking bright. But if you...
Well, I think things ought to be named for what they are. I think there ought to be a little more truth in names. You know, they've tried to clean up advertising claims. Let them clean up some of the names like Excello and Acme and Ace and Top. Bullshit. I like things to be called what they are. I like to bring out a new car, the 1977 piece of shit. A division of United Consumer Fuckers.
You know, whenever you're exposed to advertising in this country, you realize all over again that America's leading industry is still the manufacture, distribution, packaging, and marketing of bullshit. High-quality bullshit, world-class designer bullshit, to be sure. Hospital-tested, clinically proven bullshit, but bullshit nonetheless. And it always amuses me that so many people seem to think that bullshit only comes from certain sources. You know, advertising, politicians, salesmen. Not true. Bullshit is everywhere. Bullshit is rampant. Parents are full of shit. Teachers are full of shit. Clergymen are full of shit. Law enforcement people are full of shit. The entire country is completely full of shit. In fact, this country was founded by a group of slave owners who told us that all men are created equal. That is what's known as being stunningly full of shit. And you know, I think... And I think people show their ignorance when they say they want politicians to be honest. What are these people talking about? If honesty were suddenly introduced into politics, it would throw everything off. The whole system would collapse. And I think deep down the American people know that. The American people like their bullshit out front, where they can get a good, strong whiff of it. That's why they re-elected Clinton. Listen. Clinton might be full of shit, but he lets you know it. Dole tried to hide it. I'm an honest man. Bullshit. Bullshit. People don't believe that shit. Clinton said, "Hi, I'm full of shit, and how do you like that?" And the people said, "At least he's honest. At least he's honest about being full of shit." It's like the business world. All businessmen are completely full of shit. Just the worst kind of people you could ever want to run into. Businessmen. And the proof of it is, they don't even trust each other. They don't trust each other. When a businessman is negotiating a deal, the first thing he does is to automatically assume that the other guy is a complete lying prick who's trying to fuck him on the deal. So he has to do everything he can to fuck the other guy a little bit harder and a little bit faster. And then, when it comes to dealing with customers, that's when you get the big smile. That's when you get the big smile. Businessman always has that big smile on his face as he carefully positions himself directly behind the customer and unzips his pants and services the account. We specialize in customer service. You heard that? Now you know what it means. Whoever coined the phrase, "let the buyer beware," was probably bleeding from the asshole. Advertising sells you things you don't need and can't afford that are overpriced and don't work. And they do it by exploiting your fears and insecurities. And if you don't have any, they'll be glad to give you a few by showing you a nice picture of a woman with big tits. That's the essence of advertising. Big tits. Threateningly big tits. And speaking of big tits, what about show business? Show business, completely dishonest, corrupt, and full of shit, but in a nice way. Plenty of expensive drugs and perverted sex. If you're gonna be full of shit, might as well enjoy your work. Then you have the media. Not just the news media, let's include them all. The media are almost literally exploding with bullshit because they're located right at the crossroads of all the other bullshit. The media are made up of equal parts advertising, politics, business, public relations, and show business. These people are sitting right at bullshit junction. There's enough bullshit in the media for Texas to open a branch office. And you still have enough left over to start 2 law firms and a Christian bookstore. Because folks, I gotta tell you, when it comes to bullshit, truly major league bullshit, you have to stand back in awe of the all-time heavyweight champion of false promises and exaggerated claims, religion. Organized religion. It's no contest. Religion easily has the best bullshit story of all time. Think about it. Religion has convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a list of 10 specific things he doesn't want you to do. And if you do any of these things, he will send you to a special place of burning and fire and smoke and torture and anguish for you to live forever and suffer and burn and scream until the end of time. But he loves you. He loves you. He loves you, and he needs money. He always needs money. He's all-powerful, all-present, all-knowing, and all-wise. Just can't handle money. Religion takes in billions and billions of dollars. They pay no taxes, and somehow they always need money. You talk about a good bullshit story. If I may be permitted a small pun, holy shit. Holy shit.
Okay. It's been a little while. It's been a little while since I've been here, and a couple of things have happened in that time. I'd like to talk a little bit about the war in the Persian Gulf. Big doings in the Persian Gulf. You know my favorite part of that war? It's the first war we ever had that was on every channel plus cable. And the war got good ratings too, didn't it? Got good ratings. Well, we like war. We like war. We're a warlike people. We like war because we're good at it. You know why we're good at it? Because we get a lot of practice. This country's only 200 years old, and already we've had 10 major wars. We average a major war every 20 years in this country, so we're good at it. And it's a good thing we are. We're not very good at anything else anymore. Huh? Can't build a decent car, can't make a TV set or a VCR worth the fuck. Got no steel industry left, can't educate our young people, can't get health care to our old people, but we can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? We can bomb the shit out of your country, all right?
Especially if your country is full of brown people. Oh, we like that, don't we? That's our hobby. That's our new job in the world, bombing brown people. Iraq, Panama, Grenada, Libya, you got some brown people in your country. Tell them to watch the fuck out, or we'll goddamn bomb them. Well, when's the last white people you can remember that we bombed? Can you remember the last white? Can you remember any white people we've ever bombed? The Germans, those are the only ones, and that's only because they were trying to cut in on our action. They wanted to dominate the world. Bullshit, that's our fucking job. That's our fucking job. Now we only bomb brown people. Not because they're trying to cut in on our action, just because they're brown. Now, you probably noticed I don't feel about that war the way we were told we were supposed to feel about that war, the way we were ordered and instructed by the United States government to feel about that war. You see, I tell you, my mind doesn't work that way. I got this real moron thing I do. It's called thinking. And I'm not a very good American because I like to form my own opinions. I don't just roll over when I'm told to. Sad to say, most Americans just roll over on command. Not me. I have certain rules I live by. My first rule, I don't believe anything the government tells me. Nothing. Zero. Nope. And I don't take very seriously the media or the press in this country, who in the case of the Persian Gulf War were nothing more than unpaid employees of the Department of Defense, and who most of the time function as kind of an unofficial public relations agency for the United States government. So I don't listen to them. I don't really believe in my country. And I gotta tell you folks, I don't get all choked up about yellow ribbons and American flags. I consider them to be symbols, and I leave symbols to the symbol-minded. Me, I look at war a little bit differently. To me, war is a lot of prick-waving, okay? Simple thing, that's all it is. War is a whole lot of men standing out in the field waving their pricks at one another. Men are insecure about the size of their dicks, and so they have to kill one another over the idea. That's what all that asshole jock bullshit is all about. That's what all that adolescent macho male posturing and strutting in bars and locker rooms is all about. It's called dick fear. Men are terrified that their pricks are inadequate, and so they have to compete with one another to feel better about themselves. And since war is the ultimate competition, basically men are killing each other in order to improve their self-esteem. You don't have to be a historian or a political scientist to see the bigger dick foreign policy theory at work. It sounds like this. What? They have bigger dicks? Bomb them! And of course, the bombs and the rockets and the bullets are all shaped like dicks. It's a subconscious need to project the penis into other people's affairs. It's called fucking with people!
Well, you know, if I had to say to you, what is the answer? I would say massive bloodshed. I really would. I don't really, honestly, deep down believe in political action. I think the system contracts and expands as it wants to. It accommodates these changes. I think the civil rights movement was an accommodation on the part of those who own the country. I think they see where their self-interest lies. They see a certain detained for...
You ever hear about in this country is our differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about, the things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing happens to work. You know anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything they can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank. You know how I describe the economic and social classes in this country? The upper class keeps all of the money, pays none of the taxes. The middle class pays all of the taxes, does all of the work. The poor are there
just to scare the shit out of the middle class. Keep them showing up at those jobs. Rights. Boy, everyone in this country's always running around yammering about their fucking rights. I have a right, you have no right, we have a right, they don't have a right. Folks, I hate to spoil your fun, but there's no such thing as rights, okay? They're imaginary. We made them up, like the Boogeyman, the Three Little Pigs, Pinocchio, Mother Goose, shit like that. Rights are an idea. They're just imaginary. They're a cute idea, cute, but that's all, cute and fictional. But if you think you do have rights, let me ask you this. Where do they come from? People say, well, they come from God. They're God-given rights. Oh, fuck, here we go again. Here we go again. The God excuse, the last refuge of a man with no answers and no argument, it came from God. Anything we can't describe must have come from God. Personally, folks, I believe that if your rights came from God, He would have given you the right to some food every day, and He would have given you the right to a roof over your head. God would have been looking out for you. God would have been looking out for you. You know that? He would have been worried about making sure you have a gun so you can get drunk on Sunday night and kill your girlfriend's parents. But let's say it's true. Let's say God gave us these rights. Why?
Thank you, folks. Well, it is truly a pleasure to welcome my next guest. This gentleman is one of the most popular, intelligent, and funny comedians of all time. Please welcome to our show, Mr. George Carlin. George. George, good to see you. How are you, sir? Thank you. I'm fine. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for being here. You're from this area, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a New York boy from Manhattan,
Yeah.
Upper West Side. And this floor in this building has a little to do with me, too. I think it was about 24 years ago when I did my first Jack Parr show.
No kidding.
Across the hall,
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, it was Arlene Francis was the guest host. I think that's one of the reasons I got on. But yeah, this has a lot of memories of everything up and down Manhattan.
Do you remember other guests on the show that night aside
Yes,
from the guest host?
Arthur Schlesinger Jr., the historian, and Artie Shaw.
Yeah.
Those are the only two I remember. I don't know who the singer was in the first 15 minutes, remember?
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's right. It used to be an hour and 45 minutes.
Right, the singer would come on and leave and never be seen again.
And how did you do? Did you big laughs?
Yeah, pretty well. I had a partner then. It was Burns and Carlin.
Right.
And we did our Nixon and Kennedy. It was 1960.
Yeah.
And we did our Huntley, Brinkley, Nixon, Kennedy, and killed them and weren't seen again for 4 years.
When you were growing up here and working here, and maybe even now, do you follow the sports teams? Were you a big fan?
Well, this is a good time to be in New York.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
With the basketball teams doing so well. Mets looking good. Yeah, I'm a sports fan. Of course, I only care about the three real sports. Baseball, basketball, and football. The rest of those things aren't really sports.
Now, wait a minute.
They don't qualify as sports.
Hockey?
Hockey, not a sport. No. Well, no, let me explain it to you. Nothing personal. It's an activity. Actually, it's a combination of three things. Ice skating, fighting, and the game of hockey. My suggestion is that they should do these things one at a time. let the meat, play a game of hockey, go to the bar, have a fight, and then go ice skating.
All right, now you're also excluding in here tennis and golf.
Tennis is a form of ping pong. It happens to be ping pong played on the table. Soccer.
Soccer.
Can't use the arms. How could it be a sport?
Yeah.
Any activity where you exclude the arms cannot be a sport. No meaningful statistics in soccer. Goals scored with your head is about the only thing I've seen. Can't be a sport. Golf. Golf, you hit a ball with a crooked stick and walk after it and hit it again.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a sport to me.
Doesn't qualify.
Golf is where businessmen get together to decide how to screw the rest of us out of our money. Can't be a sport.
Oh. Would you, are any other rule changes or any new sports that you would be interested in?
Well, I'd change a couple of rules just for interest, for entertainment value. In football, I think during the last quarter they should be able to use knives. Little thing, but it might pick up the ratings.
Yeah, yeah.
In soccer, I have a suggestion. One guy should have a motorcycle and be allowed to ride the ball into the goal. You'd still have a goalie, but it would be up to him to stop the motorcycle.
Yeah, yeah.
Little thing, in baseball, I would have in the outfield 20 or 30 randomly placed mine shafts. Little excitement, too.
Just really deep holes sunk in the outfield.
Yes, and every now and then a guy would go, zoom.
And how would you score that?
I think that would be an error.
All right, I tell you, I know you have some more thoughts about this.
Sports I'd like
here.
to suggest,
Okay, I'll hold those, and we'll do a commercial, and we'll be back with Mr. George Carlin. Carlin is here. I just wanted to mention this. I saw your program on a cable outlet in this country, which I guess it was been a while ago now that it was
it's
actually
about a year. It's been on about a year now.
But it's terrific.
Thank you.
Very funny stuff. All right, now, new sports.
Yeah, this is on the order of the new rules, but it's a little, I guess, well, they're actually sports based on existing sports. For instance, cross-country bowling. It'd be a longer game. You could spend more time at the alley. How about full contact chess?
Sounds good.
Kick golf. We have kickboxing.
That's right.
Kick golf might be nice. Figure eight demolition wheelchair. Would be voluntary, of course.
Yeah.
Off-water boating.
Gee, I never. Now, how would that work?
Well, you have off-road racing.
Yeah.
So you'd have to have a course, specially made, obviously. I haven't given these a lot of thought, David.
But the germ of the idea is what's important.
And all of my job is just suggesting things.
That's right.
Thank God I don't have to implement these
That's
things.
right. You don't have to hire a committee or anything. Just come up with the idea.
You know, hang gliding is very popular. I thought hang fencing would be very interesting. But I'll try to work on some of the rules if you like for later. I can
Well, sure. If you could keep us posted on these
just leave you hanging like that.
Now, do you ever, of course, with a guy that is as recognizable as you, it must be tough for you to actually go see like a basketball game, a baseball game, or whatever.
Well, I get to them, you know, as much as I can. I'm not a fierce fan in that respect. I don't have to be there to enjoy it. I did have my heart attack 2 years ago. Came at a Mets-Dodgers game.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that there was a close game because, you know, those Dodger fans leave early usually. And if they'd have been in that parking lot, I'd have never gotten to the hospital then. But I got out in time. Yeah, I get out to the games. I forget what that was going to lead me into, Dave. I had a real good thought
Getting
about
to the
that.
games?
Yeah, being a real fan out there. God, we'll just have to pass on that one or something, huh?
Do you want to? You can pass on it and go on to the next category, or we can consult an expert.
Well, I'd like to go on to the next category.
Okay, let's go on to the next category.
Because the next category is something that's dear to my heart.
Well, now this is for me also. This is auto racing.
Yeah, and you're an Indianapolis fellow.
That's right.
I have a Jackie Stewart impression that I do. It's the only impression I do in my life. And it's kind of special. I'd like to do it from the seat here. Jackie Stewart, of course, being the Scottish ABC announcer.
Right.
I have to work into this because the voice doesn't accommodate it automatically. This is Jackie Stewart.
Jackie Stewart here at Talladega Raceway. We're at Talladega Raceway. Hold on, wait a minute, no. Wait a minute, there's a car on fire in the fair turn. It's Mario Andretti's car. Mario Andretti's car is on fire in the fair turn. Here comes A.J. Foyt. Here comes Cale Yarborough. They're all on fire in the fair turn.
That's about it.
You know, that more than makes up for getting what that last category
And
was.
I think I forgot the other because I was so anxious to do Jackie.
Yeah, well, you did a fine job.
I have something to finish with from the spot.
All right.
If you don't mind, and
No.
it deals with sports. I'll say goodbye to you now and see you another time.
Please
Thanks for
come
having
back,
me here.
George.
Yeah,
Thanks for
I'll
being
see
here.
you. Let me
Certainly.
try this from over
All
on
right.
the monologue spot. This is just a comparison of baseball and football. It occurred to me that these two activities, baseball and football, are very much, we consider them very much a part of our lives. In fact, we argue about which one is the #1 sport, and yet they're so different. And you can tell from the terms that are related to them. Baseball is 19th century. It's pastoral, 19th century. Football is 20th century. It's technological. Baseball is played on a diamond in a park, the baseball park. Football is played on a gridiron in a stadium, War Memorial Stadium. In baseball, you wear a cap. In football, you wear a helmet. Baseball has a 7th inning stretch. Football has a 2-minute warning. Baseball has no time limit. We don't know how long it's going to last. We may have extra innings. Football is rigidly timed, and it will end even if we have to go to sudden death. Football is based on downs. What down is it? Baseball is based on ups. Who's up? Are you up? I'm not up. In football, you get a penalty. In baseball, you make an error. Whoops! In baseball, in the stands, there's kind of a picnic feeling. Emotions may run high, but there's not that much unpleasantness. In football, in the stands, you can be sure that at least 27 times during the game you are capable of taking the life of a fellow human being, preferably a stranger. Now, to sum it up, the object of the game's quite different. In football, the object of the game is for the quarterback, known as the field general, to be on target with his passes, riddling that defense with an accurate aerial attack in spite of a blitz, even if he has to use the shotgun. With short bullet passes and long bombs, he marches his troops into enemy territory, balancing this aerial assault with a sustained ground attack which punches holes in the forward wall of the enemy's defensive line. In baseball, the object is to go home. I'm going home.
My first guest is one of the funniest men around. He has a new show on HBO called Carlin on Campus and an album of the same name right here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to welcome back to our show George Carlin. Hi, George. Good to see you. How are you? Nice to see you again, sir. You got stuff? Yeah. All right. Congratulations, you got another fine show on this cable deal,
Thank
don't you?
Yes.
And your album, let me ask you about the album label. What label?
That's my own label. I finally have my own label. It's Eardrum Records.
Uh-huh.
And our slogan is stick it in your ear. And finally we get to make sure, you know, that they get promoted a little.
Oh, good.
That's all I wanted.
All right. And you have stuff? You want to talk about the stuff? You want to...
No, let's just, you know.
All right. Now, you're back in New York. You like coming back here?
Oh, sure, yeah. I'm born in New York, and I spent about 25 years here before I finally hit the road, and I get back a lot, you know, and I like it. I like California, but I like that sort of magic that New York has. First thing I do when I get here is take a walk. I got in late last night and took a long walk looking for the people on the street. You know,
Yeah.
this is certainly the place for them. Found some interesting folks. Walked up the east side, up along 2nd Avenue. Got up into the 70s, and there weren't too many people out. Fireworks were over. People were headed back for Queens already. And I saw a guy about a block away. Didn't look too stable, you know, sort of little of the weaving. No wind, just a little weaving. And I said, okay, this will be fun. Another guy on the street. And as I got a little bit closer, I saw that he was kind of bad off. You know, he had bad clothes, tattered clothing and everything. And it was really dirty. He had a beard. And very dirty, you know. He was so dirty you couldn't tell his race.
Yeah.
And got a little closer. I figured he's going to ask me for some money. You know, that's the usual thing. And I got up a little closer, and he comes over and he says, hey, you want to buy a Kruger end?
Can't go wrong.
No.
Now, when you come to this city, or I guess any city for that matter, if somebody approaches you on the street for money, do you give them money, or
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people feel uncomfortable about that.
Yeah, I'm like Alan Alda. I think you got to give something back, you know? No, I do. I do that. But I like to have a little bit of fun with it. Not mean fun. Just like to get my moment out of it. I'll give a guy a little something, and I'll say, hey, don't you go spending this. Put this in the bank. I just picture him going into Citicorp in the morning, you know, like go for the money market checking account. Another one I like to try is I'll give the guy a little something. I'll say, look, don't you go spending this, and I want you to use this for wine. Don't let me catch you buying soup with this now. But it's a great mix out there.
Yeah.
And late at night is when you get a lot more of the strangos. There was one guy on 3rd Avenue last night up there on the east side, around the 70s again, I think. Some guy out there right in the middle of the street directing traffic. No one asked him to. Self-appointed traffic expediter. No uniform, no authority, just out. I think he was with the other guy. They had matching outfits, as a matter of fact. He's just standing out there like this. And there was no traffic either. And this guy was serious. He was giving out tickets. And he was talking to himself. You know, New York City is the international headquarters for people who talk to themselves. You know, every couple of blocks you're going to find some guy rolling along. And I guess they talk to themselves because no one else will listen.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of sad. You never see them on the talk shows. For one.
Could be a whole new area of guests.
Sure, I mean, you can take a little break.
That's right. That's right.
But I try to listen. That's what I wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
I do try to listen. I kind of walk alongside him and try to pick up a little logic if I can. You know, one guy's walking along and I heard him saying, "Who? Me? Are you talking to me?" Some of them are a little hostile. You have to be careful. Many of them seem to be arguing with themselves. You know, it's one thing, I think, to talk to yourself, but it's quite something else to disagree with something you just said.
Yeah.
One guy's on the corner, he's carrying on, you know, well, I don't know. Oh, could be, well, I don't know. And I walk over to him and I say, you're absolutely right. And he said, I wasn't talking to you. So
we have to do a commercial here, George, but we'll be right back with George Carlin and plenty others. People talking in New York City. One time my girlfriend and I were eating dinner. By the way, she's a lovely lady. My lady is a lovely lady. A strong, caring lady. We were in a restaurant eating dinner. It was like a storefront place where you could see the street from your table.
Yeah.
And a guy walks by, kind of cases the place, and the restaurant's full. And he comes back, he opens the door, and at the top of his lungs, into the restaurant, he screams, "You people enjoy your meal!" Closed the door and left. Apparently someone from the mayor's office just making sure everything was...
Boy. Yeah, it's just such a great city. You know, you can sort of overdo that and you can sound like you're just leaning on that, but there's a trip on every corner. I caught up with one guy talking to himself. This was a really interesting self-talker. I call them auto-verbalists, I guess is what they're But I ran into one guy who only asked himself rhetorical questions. What's it all about? Why am I here? Why was I born? What's going on?
And the interesting thing was he was giving himself rhetorical answers. Life is what you make it. Life is just a bowl of cherries. Have a little fun. Have a nice day. A stitch in time saves 9. I like it. And the unfortunate part, of course, the underside of all this is that generally these are disturbed people, and we haven't had a way or found a way to properly take care of them. Some of them, I ran into one self-talker who apparently had multiple personalities. And what you have here is not just an ordinary self-talker. What you have here is a one-man ambulatory round-table discussion. Yeah, and I wondered if he used Robert's Rules of Orders, you know. May it please the chair. May it please the chair. I yield to the distinguished gentleman in the fatigue hat. Well, not all of them are talking.
Tough. It's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, good place.
Do you ever go? Now you're from? Is it the South Bronx?
No, I'm from Upper West Side of Manhattan.
Yeah. You go up to the old neighborhood?
I sure do. I get there maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Some of the guys are still there, and I love the accent because I kicked my accent when I got into radio. I had to get rid of my New York accent. But I hear it when I go home. You hear it everywhere. But someone say, Georgie, I seen you on Johnny Carson. You were so funny, my jaws were sore. Good folks, and a good neighborhood.
Yeah. It's nice to have you here.
Thank
you. And things are, as always, going quite well. The name of the show and the album, Carlin on Campus. Terrific. Come back and see us anytime.
Thank you. I'm going to take my Henny on your time.
Oh, yeah. Stay right there. George Carlin, ladies and gentlemen. We have to pause here for station identification. And then, of course, I wrote Peggy Sue. Okay. I get a call from my mother. Dave, are you really Mr. Rock and Roll? Well, the neighbors came over with the magazine and said... It's always a pleasure to welcome my first guest. He is a very funny man, also the author of this book we've just been perusing right here. Sometimes a little brain damage can help. Please welcome George Carlin. George, nice to see you here. I know you're in town because you were hosting Saturday Night Live a couple of nights ago. That turned out very nicely for you.
Turned out very well. It's been 9 years, but I think I'm going to come back quicker next time.
Yeah, it seemed to work okay.
Yeah, it worked fine. I felt very loose, and then they made it, it seems like it should be a hard week to do, but it came out real easy.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It certainly looked that way. Let me ask you a couple of things about the book. By the way, where do folks get this book?
This is a bookstore book.
Oh, really?
Yeah. As opposed to the lotto stand and all that. Actually in bookstores. Sometimes a little brain damage can help.
Let me ask you about this quote.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
That's
of course, I can't read the quote, but it's something here from Voltaire.
Voltaire, yeah.
Did he actually say, if you can't dance, you a lot of waitresses?
Yes, I think he did. Yeah. And if he didn't, he should have.
Right. Do you want to spend a couple of minutes just going through the book here?
Yeah, I got a couple of little parts that you always like certain things better than others. There are some things, for instance, there's the Miscellaneous Ailments Foundation. We dedicated a couple pages to them. A lot of diseases, as you know, don't have a comedian working for them, don't have a telethon. These are sort of miscellaneous ailments, 6-foot nose hairs.
Oh.
Hereditary fructose intolerance.
I'm sorry, hereditary
fructose intolerance. Yeah, it stays with you all your life, I hear. Laetrile overdose, irregular gait, lack of hustle.
Irregular gait?
Irregular gait. You've seen those folks on the street.
Yeah.
Oriental Nightmare Death Syndrome.
Uh-huh.
Which apparently only strikes a portion of the population. Non-productive cough. Some of these are minor things. Cancer of the bridge of the nose. That's no fun.
Yeah.
Circumcision blunder. I don't know if you can say something like that. But that is one of them.
Yeah.
So there are various things, constant screaming, maidenly hysterics, different things that we think deserve
You
attention.
have a section in there of things that you never see.
Things you never see, well, a bum with nice luggage. Two homosexuals who own a coal mine.
Yeah.
A street junkie with plenty of leisure time.
Yeah.
A man who snorts iron ore.
Leisure.
Lots of these.
Yeah.
And I'm a list person. I like little lists, and that's where I get my fun. Here's a list of people I can do without.
Yeah.
Guys named Skip. Anyone with a charge account at an ammo shop. A man with 7 gold teeth who wants to play cards. Any person who drinks rum through his nose. And a man with whose arm hair completely covers his wristwatch.
Yeah, those are... now, what would this book go for?
This book goes for your $5.95, Dave. It might be marked down in some areas, but
Now, George, let me...
we tried to get jokes per page, JPP. We tried to get the joke per page rate. Look at this. Look at this. All over it, full of things.
Yeah.
See?
So while it's not
it's not your tone,
but it's dense.
It's not your tone. It's dense.
Dense with jokes.
That's
Okay.
right.
George Carlin. Sometimes a little brain damage can help.
Absolutely.
All right. We have to do a commercial here,
Sure.
George, and then we'll come back and find out what else is going on with Mr. Carlin. Thank you, Paul. So it was right after I signed with Sun Records that I met Colonel Parker. This is from your book. This is a generic joke.
Yes.
A person goes into a place and says something to another person. The second person says something back to him. The first person listens to that and then says something funny.
Right. You can use it anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of records, how many albums have you sold? How many have you released? How many have you sold?
If you count one way back for RCA, and you have to when you're sitting in this building, I guess I've released 11. And I don't know. I guess they sold about 5 million, something like that.
Very impressive, because comedy records generally, even a successful comedy record probably won't sell that many, and you've sold 5 million.
And well, what's nice about them, and I'm proud of it, they keep selling. Some of those from 1973, I'll get, I'll see that every week, every month, they're pumping out a few units.
Do they go around the world? They sell in other countries?
Only in English-speaking countries.
Yeah.
Sorry to say, we tried real hard. Tried real hard to get them into Bangladesh. No haps.
That would be interesting, though. It would just be you speaking a different language, or somebody dubbing the albums for you?
Yeah, well,
It's one of the dumbest questions I've ever coughed up.
New technology.
How do you like being back in New York? I know you don't come back here as much as you probably would like to these days.
Well, I enjoy it, though. I have certain things. I love the restaurants. And I have a few favorites, little places that are still around. You ever been to Shorty's Footwear restaurant?
Shorty's Footwear? No, I never have.
Well, their slogan is, how would you like a nice meal out of someone else's footwear? And they feature chicken in a shoe, beef in a brogan, pork in a pump.
Pork in a pump. Let me jot that down, George, because I'd like to order that if I could. Pork in a pump. All right.
Lox in a loafer. And of course, mostaccioli in a moccasin. They're getting into the foreign things.
Yeah, this specialty place, obviously. Now, do you find that the name of a restaurant has any kind of tip-off to what you're going to get?
Yeah, I'll try to avoid a place that's called Scarf and Barf. Although the bulimics, I understand, like it quite a bit. There's an interesting anorexic restaurant here in New York with no waiters. But, you know what you want to stay out of? You want to stay out of a place called the Coach and Roach, Moldy's, the Nauseateria, Casa Gristle. The restaurant for the unclean, I don't find too appealing.
Yeah. Now, you spend most of your time in Southern California or on the road.
Yeah.
Now, what is your comparison of the service you get in a restaurant from, say, Southern California to New York or any other place in New York?
Well, I think you'd agree, because you get on that plane a lot, I know. Service is pretty much standard. I try to avoid any waitress who has a tattoo that says "born to serve food." Or a waiter with a Band-Aid, you know, where the orange is starting to run. Well, these are tips. Listen, don't blame me. It's not my world.
No, that's right. It's not George's world.
I like to have a little fun when they, you know, a lot of the waiters are very attentive. You know how they come around and they say, "Is everything okay?" They'll come 2 or 3 times, and I'm literal with it. I say, "No, as a matter of fact, my sister's out of work. Television doesn't work, my feet hurt, and I owe a lot of money."
Yeah.
Sometimes they're really attentive. They'll call you at home that night and ask if everything is still okay. Well, I keep them on their toes. I order unusual things. They'll ask if you like something from the bar. I'll say, "Yeah, give me a prune margarita, will you?" With a watermelon twist. Gin and napalm is another one of my favorites. Listerine and soda, that's always nice. But with the peppermill, they stand there. I let them go for about an hour with the peppermill. Very nice. Let them go. Big terrific. Right. And after you get a huge pile, and they say, wait, a little more, and then a little more, and they say, "Okay, that's it." Keep them on their toes. That's my...
You know what I did one time, and it's an interesting reaction depending on where you are. The waitress or waiter came over and said, you know how they will garnish your plate usually with some parsley, and the waiter came over and said, "Can I get you anything else?" I said, "Yeah, I'd like some more parsley, please."
Yes. Well, I have a friend who's existed on garnish alone for 11 years. So here we are.
That's it. Are we done with the restaurant? So, where are you going from here?
I'm going home, and then I jump out a little bit more, and then take a nice vacation for myself. A little road
Where
work.
are you going on vacation?
Going down to St. Martin in the Caribbean
nice.
for Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
The book here, sometimes a little brain damage can help. And remember, despite its slim appearance, it's
right.
chock full of comedy, ladies and gentlemen. George Carlin, nice to see you again, George.
Thank you, Dave.
Have a good trip. We're going to pause here for Stage Night on Vacation. We'll be right back.
The essence of Scully. Never been a hull like this.
Hi, I'm Rob Burnett. I'm from New Jersey. I'm 24 years old, and I'm serving as the relief host for Late Night with David Letterman. I was chosen from a random drawing, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. You know, Rob, before we get George out here, there's one other thing. Hal, can we test the confetti cannon or not? Sure. Is that right? All right, it should be that button. Now, this is a brand new device.
This here?
No, this button right here. Is everybody ready for this? Go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, geez.
I got trouble with hair now.
Yeah, that certainly was a swell idea. Okay. Okay, Rob, now bring up the
It's always a pleasure to welcome my first guest to this program. He can currently be seen in concert on HBO, and he has a new album coming out next month called Playing With Your Head. Please welcome comedian George Carlin. George, nice to see you. Rob Burnett, co-host here tonight.
I'm always late for weddings.
Hey, just ask him the questions that are on the sheet.
Thanks, Dave.
I feel like Ed tonight.
So, how have you been?
Doing pretty fine. Just, you know, hanging around New York a little bit. Glad to be here with the Who's Your Born Late Night Funny Man. I've been reading a lot of things about your show, serious analyses of your show, getting around. And of course, you know, they use a lot of shorthand, writers, media people. You're the Hoosier-born late-night funny man. Paul is the sidekick maestro.
Yeah.
Or, if you don't mind, sometimes the diminutive sidekick maestro. Paul. All right. And I guess I'm kind of veteran stand-up comic.
Yeah.
If I had veteran bearded stand-up comic. I think if I had let my hair long, I'd be the aging hippie comedian. But they find a way, don't they, to shorthand you.
Sure.
Howard Hughes was the billionaire recluse. Robert Vesco is the fugitive financier. Martin Luther King, slain civil rights leader. Andrei Sakharov, the ailing Soviet dissident. Squeaky Fromme is the ex-Manson follower. Of course, Charles Manson is the convicted mass murderer. That's a good one to avoid, if you possibly can. Evel Knievel is the former daredevil. Pope John Paul is the much-traveled pontiff. And I'm forgetting a few. Then there are some generic ones: mob chieftain, reputed mob figure. Those are nice to avoid also.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy to be here, walking around.
Rob Burnett, I think, is the unluckiest man on the face of the earth.
Absolutely.
I think fledgling co-host.
Yeah.
Very fledgling. Very fledgling.
Yeah.
So now you're also in a movie? Good transition there?
Nice
Not bad, Rob.
transition.
Very good. Very good.
Yes. Right. Soon to be film star, I guess. No, I am. I finally, after all this time, I'm getting my turn. I did a movie with Bette Midler and Shelley Long. Of course, this won't be out till February. I'm talking about it now because it's a new experience. Usually people wait to
You've
plug
done
this.
movies before, haven't you?
Well, I did Car Wash, but it was kind of a cameo, and I brought my own wardrobe and wrote my own scene. That's not like, that's not like being in the movies,
No,
is it?
it's like a hobbyist movie.
Yeah, that's all it was. Do-it-yourself, quick, one-day thing. And then, of course, I did a movie 10 years before that with Doris Day. With Six, You Get Egg Roll, another memorable part.
Is that right?
I've tried to do a movie every 10 years. That's been my goal. But now, actually, the truth is, I felt out of place most of that time in the acting situation, and I don't now. I feel very good.
Yeah.
So this movie is called Outrageous Fortune, and the main thing I'm thrilled about is that I feel comfortable there, and I want to do more of that.
Yeah.
So.
What was Doris Day like?
About like that.
Yeah.
that was.
What was she really like?
That was a frightening time for me because I felt so out of place. Brian Keith was in it too, and I was just completely, overpowered and out of my element.
Yeah.
But she was, like I say, really about like that.
Yeah. Now you're a big sport.
What was she really like?
Hey, I couldn't get behind the scenes. It was a small part, and I did see a lot of animals near her trailer.
Yeah. Well, she loves animals.
That's right.
She loves animals.
That's right. Oh, come on, folks.
We're gonna go to a commercial. I gotta step in here. We're gonna go to a commercial. We'll be back more with George Carlin. We're back with George Carlin. Oh my God.
You're doing great.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Absolutely.
Thanks
not
very
a bad
much.
job.
So you're a big sports fan. What? No, you're a big movie fan. I think actually. You're not a sports fan yet.
I think you recovered nicely.
Now, what do you watch a lot of cable TV? You stay.
Yeah, that's 3 subjects now. I can pick one.
He's audibilizing here at the line, isn't he?
And it's more or less up to me now. The only thing I want to say about movies is that I'm like a lot of people of not just my generation, but several generations in this country who have, sat in the movies and had dreams of maybe being in the movies. I mean, it's one of those great American stories. And I'm one of those people who watches strange things in movies. I look for little things, the offbeat.
Like if my birthday's mentioned. You ever been in a movie and you're watching it and they mention your birthday, they say the invasion will be May 12th? Don't you want to tell the person next to you? Say, my birthday, that's my birthday. They just mentioned it in the movie. But like if they show a newspaper headline, I read the little stories down at the bottom, don't you? If there's a crowd scene, I wonder which person had a really nutritious breakfast that day. Which guy has a long way to drive going home at night. And capped teeth. I look for capped teeth. I really watch for this. I often wonder how funny some of these love scenes would be if everyone had his original teeth. And I look for the people who have not quite made it yet all the way. They have their front teeth capped and the yellow ones start here. And then you'll see them 2 movies later and they're all done, you know. But you mentioned cable TV. How's that for a transmission? That's a good transmission. Now it's got me nervous. Well, I have a strange cable. I have a past tense cable channel where they're showing old shows, which is common enough. A lot of revivals of the old 50s comedies. But these are in past tense. We're getting Got Smart, Father Knew Best, We Left It to Beaver. Make Room for Daddy is on, but not only did they change the tense of that, they put it from the active to the passive voice, and it's Daddy had room made for him. Car 54, Where Were You? Which of course, you would expect. A Western, Had Gone, Would Have Traveled. I Led 3 Lives is on, but that's already in the past tense, so that's being called I Had Been Leading 3 Lives. And a great topical satiric show that David Frost put on, That Had Been the Week That Had Been. So I stay pretty much glued to my TV now, David. What else?
We got the All-Star Game. The All-Star Game's coming up. You're a big sports fan.
Well,
Tonight.
It's
already been played.
That's right.
over.
And what a result. What a result.
National League,
Yeah.
I think.
And it was closer than I thought.
Closer, but you know what I hated to see was when it was marred by the bench clearing ball.
Oh.
Yeah, wasn't that terrible? You'd think an all-star game.
You'd think they'd be a little more professional. Yeah, I just like to see a few sports changed. I'm used to these sports now, and I'd like a few new rules, something to make it a little more exciting. In football, I'd let all 45 guys play at the same time. You know, what's the stuff standing around watching the game? Put on a helmet, get in there, and hurt someone. In football, I would also leave the injured on the field. You know, they're always talking about how it's a big war going on out there. Fine, let the Red Cross come around and pick these people up. Why stop the game for something like that? Basketball could be made a lot more exciting. I would have a 2-second shot clock. As soon as that ball is inbounds, get that thing up in the air. I did not come to watch a game of catch. I'm looking for a 400 or 500 point ball game, weren't you? Also in basketball, this might be exciting. Right at the center court line, for 10 feet on either side of the center court line, I would have a gasoline fire. And one more thing in basketball, I would allow 25 points for any ball that goes in the basket off another man's head.
Yeah.
You'd increase the chance for serious injuries, and you'd see some really good fights.
What about baseball? What would you do for
Baseball, to speed, and that needs speeding up.
Yeah.
Baseball, I'd speed it up by everyone gets one swing. That's it. You're out. Sit down. Come on. Let's go. Next guy. Another thing with baseball, if the pitcher hits the batter with the ball, batter's out. You hit 27 guys in a row, you got a perfect game. You know what I mean? And you'd be out of that ballpark in 15 minutes. You could be home watching football on TV and see some really serious injuries. You know what I mean? Also in baseball, it might be nice in the outfield to have a series of randomly placed landmines.
Well, I think we're just about gonna wrap things up here.
You're picking it up great.
I'm coming around. I'm doing okay.
I feel much more comfortable than I did last time here with you.
My job is over now. Thank you very much, sir. We'll be right back after station identification.
Although, you know, I don't think we ever said anything about improved.
No,
We just said new.
That's my radio background.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You all knew. That's what it
we
was.
all knew.
Well, let's improve it a little, too.
All right, well, that's why you're here.
Well, I'm pleased as punch.
How was your holiday? We had a holiday yesterday.
President's Day. Yeah,
That's
well,
right.
I was hoping that you had a safe and sound
President's Day. Did you and yours have a...
I stayed home and celebrated quietly.
Yeah, we did the same. The wife and I stay home on those kind of things. You know, let the kids, God bless them, let the kids go out. And the people, they want to drink, they want to drive. It's not a good night to be on the highway.
No, it's maniacs.
Yeah, the idiots and the maniacs, both out. So we stayed home. We had dinner, exchanged gifts.
Oh, that's nice.
And,
what did you get from your wife?
I got a set of forks.
Yeah?
Each one different, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I gave her a couple of passes to a museum that hasn't opened yet in our area.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah,
Very
and then we watched the late news, took a bunch of sleeping pills, and we were off. I mean, I say we had a heck of a time and some darn fun.
Well, that's good. That's great. What else is going on?
Oh, you know, I'm working in that movie. That's oh, I'm not working in it anymore.
No, you finished the movie.
Yeah,
How
I
many
think so.
movies have you done?
I've done 3. I've done 1 in each of the last 3 decades. Well, my legs hurt in between, and I don't, you know, it's hard to get over there. But it is kind of silly. It is, it's really silly, because it was my childhood ambition, actually, to be a funny guy, to be like, I was a Danny Kaye fan.
Right.
And in fact, I volunteered for being silly when as soon as I found out you could do that, that was a thing to do.
Yeah.
One of my early teachers said, well, George, you can either study and take responsibility or you can be silly. And I thought, hey, as long as it's an option, I'll go for that. So I was one of those class clown kind of kids. And of course, I had the lean, hard physique of a comedian. And I think the die was cast. They spotted that early. But I guess every now and then you waver, you know. It wasn't an easy road. For a while, I wanted to be a railway postal inspector.
Yeah.
And I saw a John Wayne movie once, and I was really influenced by that. For about a week, I wanted to be the wholesale distributor for extruded aluminum products. Didn't stay with me, though. And I had a problem because the background, my ethnic background, was one of those which frowned on entertainment.
Yeah.
My mother was Comanche and Swiss.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And my father had an unusual mixture, Vatican City and Easter Island. So, but we did have a lot of holidays, God bless them. In fact, we celebrated 6 different Independence Days.
Yeah.
But,
6?
6, yes. Well, if you go back into the grandparents, we had people from Malta and the Isle of Wight, and Bermuda, and Guamians. But that's going a little far back. Another thing that sort of worked against me on this show business thing, my neighborhood was not the kind of neighborhood where you wanted to be associated with play acting or stage. It was kind of a tough...
Considered to be sissy activity, right?
Yeah. It was kind of a tough neighborhood. It was. You've heard of Hell's Kitchen?
Sure.
Well, this wasn't quite as tough. It was Hell's Dining Room.
But still very tough.
Yes. Yeah. Well, on Halloween, we would kill a person. We had die or treat. Did you know, actually, there's also a rich, tough neighborhood in New York called Hell's Servants' Quarters?
Oh, is that right? This is probably a little farther north over there.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And like I say, it was kind of tough. I did the best I could, and I guess school is where I ran into my most the most approval for my behavior.
Yeah. Were you good in school?
Well, now, are you including learning in that? I was okay. I was. Unfortunately, each summer I would seem to forget all of the things they had taught the year before. Yeah. So when I would come back in the fall, I was right at square one again.
A lot of catching up to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Daydreamer, that was my problem. Daydreaming. If they'd had a course in What's Outside the Window,
right,
I'd have probably done very well.
Excellent marks in that. Yeah.
Excellent marks. Yeah. But I was a sensitive. That was my problem, I think, sensitive kid. My mother washed me in woolite, you know.
Yeah.
Guys don't like that.
Oh,
a loner.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time alone. Were you that way?
Not really, no. I don't think I was a loner, no.
Yeah, I did. I had an imaginary friend, but I didn't bother with him. You know.
I tell you what, let's do a commercial here, and we'll continue visiting tonight here with George Carlin. We'll be right back. Is here, Willie Nelson is here. You must have at one time or another worked with Willie Nelson before, I guess, huh?
Not on the same bill, although recently up at Lake Tahoe, we were on the same stage, but I did an early show, he did a late show.
It seems like it would be a good combination of shows, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
And do you know anything about building screen doors?
No, but listen, I'm willing to try anything. I mean, I like to.
But aren't you amazed that there's somebody who can actually build in eight minutes 2 screen doors?
I think so, sure.
Yeah, I think that's very impressive.
I might pay to see that.
Well, you don't have to pay because we're bringing it here to free network television.
And this will be tonight? Well,
no, not tonight, in March.
Oh.
Paul and I covered all of this already.
That's a lot of lead time.
Yeah, I know. Well, this is the kind of thing you want to promote, though.
Yeah, by that time, I may be able to do it myself by March.
Yeah, well, please don't work ahead on this.
No, okay. I might buy the parts.
Yeah, get all the equipment.
Okay.
Now tell me about your activity with girls when you were a school kid.
Well, I wasn't, I was too smart for my own good with girls. Like when we would play doctor, I would find an aneurysm. Get this girl to a hospital. There's nothing much to tell about that. That's about the extent of that. The sad part of it is I used to spend a lot of time in this building.
Yeah.
See,
kid from this area, right?
Yeah, I was from the Upper West Side, but I was an autograph collector and stage struck, and I'd rather just talk about some real stuff because I've been trying to be jokey and all that, and I always feel a little funny about that. Do you mind me saying that to them? They're listening.
Sure, we'll edit it right out.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it'll make me feel better anyway. Because I'd rather just tell you something that's really true. I collected autographs when I was a kid, and I hung around this building. We used to walk up the stairs of this building. I think it's around 68 stories.
Yeah.
We used to get here when work would be over about 5:30. Wouldn't be many people. We would walk up to the top and walk down, wait for the radio shows to get over, collect autographs.
What year are we talking about?
I was 10, 11, and 12 years old, so that was 1947, 48, 49. Radio was just, finishing. TV was just coming in. And I used to go down to my dentist's office and take his business cards and then go collect autographs. I was really stage struck.
So you'd go up to somebody with the business card of a dentist?
Yes.
That's interesting. We have a 12-year-old dentist here.
What I did, I got jazz musicians at Birdland and places like that, and the different stage shows. I always wanted to get up and do something. In school, I would have to get up. I sang and played manana. In the 5th grade for Sister Annunciata's club meeting. And I don't think they understood that at all. Peggy Lee might have enjoyed it, but...
was that your first actual, not a real gig, but...
No, well, I was in Sister Nathaniel's 2nd grade band. It was mostly sticks and clappers, but it seemed like a band to us. We played for Joe Louis and Eleanor Roosevelt at a band. My first liberal benefit, actually, when I think about it now, at Horace Mann School. So I was always looking for ways to show off. That's really what it amounted to. Being a smart ass on the corner.